guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me, you guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's shore? We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Got buad, got tolan, got trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sore? To find it until our greatest deed. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever, forever.
Welcome to the 100th episode of PAX Day, The Search for Steel. Today's podcast, 100, I thought, why not do communication? So philosophy, leadership, and life is the journey through time is what we like to consider these podcasts most recent. I'm your host, Daniel, and I will be your guide through the leadership concepts of communication tonight. So again, milestone 100 episode of PAX Day, The Search for Steel. So pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. Why? 100. I think 100 episodes anybody does on a theme is pretty good, but I've come up with 100 different subject matters as well, which is pretty cool, and associated them to PAX Day, MMORPGs, life, and that means work and your personal life. So thanks for being part of the journey. If you've listened to the podcast, I appreciate your attention, and if, as always, you have any questions, put them in chat or in the comments. Today, again, celebrating 100 episodes, and we'll just dive into the most essential topic that I can go over: communication. So if we looked at some of the older episodes, I mean, we've gone through the foundations of thought, ethics, leadership, decision making, social contracts, and we through all that, we emphasize the emphasis has to be on effective communication, right? In all of those topics, the underpinning or reoccurring theme, right? So, whether it's leadership, ethics, or community building, communication is the glue that connects ideas to action. So tonight we'll define and explore key elements of communication. We'll examine its role in leadership, community, and digital spaces. We'll share actionable techniques and empirical insights. We'll cover the fundamentals of communication, its impact of various realms, and we'll end with the some practical exercises you can use immediately. So, although this is an entire episode worth, it will not cover all. I need some grace so I can go harvest some stuff. So, communication, let's define communication, because a lot of people really need to understand what communication is, right? Because we're not really, we think we know what communication is, but we really, I don't think many people understand the nuance of communication, and thereby will limit your ability to actually provide or use communication properly. So let's start there. And we'll start with the key components, right? Let's just start at the very basic level. So first, you have the sender, who is the originator of the message. You have the message itself, which is the content that's being conveyed. We have the channel. What is the medium through which the message is sent? Is it verbal, written, digital? We have the receiver, who is the individual or group who receives the message. Then you have feedback, the response or reception from or reaction from the receiver. I'm trying to do like 3 things at once. It's awesome. And then we have any noise. Noise is any interference that distorts the message. So with that as a foundation, we will continue on, but if there are any questions, please put them in the chat. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the key components, as you are imagining, are the academic breakdown of communication. In the real world, you should have the knowledge of these basic keys or key components where you don't have to think of them. They come naturally. I highly advise, as we get toward the end, there's going to be some exercises where you'll be able to practice. Yes. And once again, highly advise practicing. Anything you want to do in communication is just like, well, communication is practice. The more practice you have, the more you'll be able to tie things together and basically you'll cut through the noise and your message will be land where you intend it to land. All right. I do not know why I'm so distracted by the screen right now. I have notes off to the side. So I gotta wait for my character to be aimed somewhere. All right. So Shannon Weaver model, academic again, introduced in the 1940s. This model emphasizes how information is transmitted and the potential for noise. There was a lot of research happening in the 40s, by the way. There was a ton. Crazy amount. I highly advise doing some research into what types of research were done in the 40s. So understanding this model will help us appreciate the challenges of communication. Once again, what's the end of that? What was the study about? Well, the potential for noise. Right? And in order for us to appreciate communication or the challenges to communication, we have to address the noise, right? All right. Gotta scroll through my notes. Communication. All right. So transactional model of communication. It sounds pretty self-explanatory, but let's dive into it just so if it's a refresher, great. If it's intuitive, even better, right? Ooh. See that piece of wood? Nice. I'm glad I looked. You don't get much storage, so when you're full, you should be actually full, right? As full as you possibly can. All right, so let's define the transactional model. Communication as a dynamic, ongoing process where both the sender and receiver are active. So this will emphasize simultaneous feedback, and it accounts for the context and the environment. Interpersonal communication. I'm sorry. I have to pay attention to the game just for a moment. There we go. So in this case, interpersonal communication is the exchange of information between individuals, emphasizing both verbal and nonverbal cues. We will be going into nonverbal cues. They're very important. Not to any great degree, so I highly advise when we do get to that section, take some notes and really do some research, because nonverbal cues will tell you everything you need to know about the receiver, the communication you're trying to convey, the message you're trying to convey. All right. So basically, within our personal communication, we're focusing on body language, tone, empathy. So effective interpersonal communication builds on trust and understanding. Group and mass communication has a different definition. How messages are crafted and received within large groups or through mass media. So look at your relevance to leadership and community building, right? That's the direct correlation to group and mass communication. Well, what's the challenges like misinterpretation and noise are amplified 100-fold. One, because you don't have that interpersonal communication going in and you don't have a transactional format. A lot of times, like if you're in a big group or in front of a large audience, you're not looking for the back and forth, right? You're looking to convey the message. So some example studies that show clear communication increases to team performance by up to 25%. So findings from like the Project Management Institute, the PMI, 25% is So, and research consistently finds that effective communication is linked to higher productivity, lower conflict, and better decision making. And of course, right? If you look at how these findings would apply and are relevant to your team, whether you're leading it or not, right? You're engaging in a community or simply having a personal communication, right? Or conversation. You can understand that effective communication is linked directly to one's ability to basically increase productivity, lower conflict, or better decision making. You could probably draw conclusions to yourself, or maybe create a research paper yourself, right? But higher productivity. Well, what does that mean in personal life or in gaming life? Well, why don't we call higher productivity? Would it be safe to, at least before the research is completed, assert that higher productivity would equal excitement? Maybe. We wouldn't be able to prove these unless we went out and actually looked for studies. Communication's been highly studied. I recommend going out and finding these studies. They're like actual studies, right? Read through them. A lot of miscommunication has occurred because people don't understand how the study is being written, or you want to draw a conclusion that's not presented as a conclusion in the study. I'll tell you, the news does that a lot of times. All right, so let's focus on leadership and community building for right now. So if you look at the role of communication and leadership, we have to define it as communication is essential for vision sharing, conflict resolution, and team motivation. There's nothing I've said so far that is controversial. It wouldn't make sense. I have so much of this plot. Try to find a place. I guess I need to. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna need to find more base. Wow, can't believe I ran out. There's a lot of storage here. And I'm using up every bit of it. Wow. That is great. Let's see. I'm gonna give this a little more. Craft that too. All right. So vision sharing is a big one, right? Leaders must articulate a clear vision. Yes. Otherwise, have you ever felt that a leader, their vision wasn't clear? It didn't motivate you. It certainly didn't give you a direction you should move first, right? Conflict resolution, that's a huge one. And we'll probably dedicate an entire show just to conflict resolution because it's so important. But open dialogue prevents misunderstandings. If you stop talking to people, you won't know what they actually thought, whether they were offended or not, something you said, did they take something the wrong way? This leads to anxiety in a lot of people. And for those who do suffer from anxiety, I would say please take a step back. And if you do have that fear that somebody is um, that something was taken the wrong way or somebody's mad at you or anything to that effect, open the dialogue. Your fear of them saying yes is holding you back. And if they do say yes, at least you know it's confirmed, right? Yes, you did offend me. And then you can have the conversation or an interpersonal conversation. Right? What's your goal, though? That is a big part of communication. If your message or your goal is not thought out, then talking for the sake of talking won't make you feel better, right? Let's see. So empowerment is the last bullet to the leadership, right? Leaders have to empower. It's a key fundamental point of leadership. So effective feedback and active listening you can use to build trust, right? And that would empower people around you. If they're, I don't want to say it as harshly as this, if they're subordinate to you, but it's not true anymore, not in true leadership. If you feel that you're subordinate to somebody, then you should have a conversation. Everybody I work with is a peer and equal. Everybody's valuable. They have a different perspective, and it's amazing when you treat people with respect and empower them. Like I would tell people, I tell people all the time, if I say something or do something or I come off too strong, let me know. Don't hold it back. I'll try to adjust. I can't promise anything, but at least what I'm trying to do is effectively communicate with them, provide the message, right? And if they don't trust me, then it's just lip service, right? And I get that. But part of the trust of somebody opening up to you is the fact that they are opening up to you. That's a big trust, right? And a lot of people have forgotten that trust is a big deal in today's society. I'll pick up. No, I'm not going to pick up that. I'll pick it up. Why not? I'll make a determination whether or not I have enough blacks. New people, I don't. Either new people or people who have changed names, I don't recognize. Yanru. I'm not sure how they want to pronounce that. Yeah, this place is pretty dead ever since that guild moved. There we go. All right. So let's see. So here's two examples. Plato and Machiavelli actually provided some examples. So Plato's ideal leaders used persuasive, ethical communication, whereas Machiavelli emphasized clear, sometimes forceful communication to maintain authority. And if you know Machiavelli, that makes sense. But notice even Machiavelli said clear. You have to be clear. People are not going to simply provide any service or fealty to somebody who is ambiguous, right? So Yeah, Machiavelli is pretty straightforward, and that's actually a great note. So some Eastern perspectives like Ashoka or Sun Tzu, and Sun Tzu, I should say, used communication to unite people and guide strategies. Makes a lot of sense. Got some wool. They haven't been around the map. There's clay all over the place. I'd like to intervene in the little conversation, but we're doing so many things at once, like learning about historical examples. So what kind of studies can support what I've just said? Well, there have been some studies by Bass and Pavolo on transformational leadership that show clear communication is the key factor in inspiring teams. That's kind of cool. And yes, it makes a lot of sense. You need to inspire somebody. You can't be unclear, right? So nothing here is earth shattering, right? So here's a quote. I gotta find out who this is from. My notes are incomplete. Effective communication is the cornerstone of transformational leadership. That sounds like from its base in Aviolio. I'm totally butchering his name. That's okay though. So let's see. Let's go on to communication and community building. So building a trust in social contracts, right? Now we talked about building social contracts and what that means and what it means for the society as a whole. But communication creates shared norms and trust within the community. So one, you have to be transparent, right? Nobody's going to be like following a shady person or have a memorable social contract with somebody who lies all the time, right? Probably from the we all hear about the fables, right? The boy who cried wolf, and it tells of the story who a boy lied so much that everybody, the society, was like, yeah, he's gonna lie the next time. He just wants attention. So what happens? He loses his flock, right? I think that's what happened. But anyway, at any rate, so you need transparency. You need regular feedback, which helps refine the shared goals, right, and the rules. And there's a little negotiating in there, I would say, right? Some people are like, some societal laws and norms, such as the death penalty, just as an example. There's a negotiation in the value, right? Some people were 100% against it. Some people are moderate. Some people are 100% for it. Where society sits is where that societal contract becomes tangible. Cultural integration, right? Aligning diverse values through dialogue. So if you have a lot of people that with diversity of thought, you want to get that feedback, right? So cultural, and you have to have one culture, by the way. You don't have to, for society, the culture of society. Everybody has their subcultures, and there's always been subcultures. You know what? I might actually to do a subcultural podcast. That's actually not a bad idea. Thank you, chat. All right, let's see. So some case studies. So real world organizations like companies would open communication channels to see higher employee engagement. Gaming communities such as PAX Day and other MMOs. Did I just... Yeah, I cut it off, didn't I? And other MMOs would, you looking at clans or guilds or such things like that. You have to use in-game communication. You have to use forums, chat, messages, Discord, build unity through conversation and share values, etc. So studies by Dirks and Farron demonstrated that trust is built on effective communication. And it correlates with improved group performance. Notice clear communication, effective communication comes up a lot in these studies. And it always seems like it goes hand in hand with increased performance. And because scientifically through the studies, it does. So whether in a business or online, effective communication is critical to building and sustaining strong communities. So let's look at the digital age. Communication is moving fast. So soon we'll have Neuralink and we'll just think it, and other people will get that thought. It's crazy to think that's in the next 50 years. So digital communication refers to the exchange of information through electronic media, such as email, social media, and messaging apps. So what are the speed and reach is the obvious, right? Messages can travel globally in seconds. Your accessibility, everybody has access, greater access to diverse perspectives. Right? All different cultures have a seat at the table, or the ability to be heard. What are the challenges? Well, increased potential for misinterpretation due to lack of nonverbal cues. Well, I would also measure that challenge as cultural differences, right? So what are we looking at as far as research? What is research told us? Well, studies by Pew Research Center show that digital communication has transformed how we interact, making brevity and clarity more important than ever. While technology enhances our ability to connect, it also demands new skills in clarity and empathy. Well, can you be clear and concise? Right? That would be the determining factor that you would have to ask, or it would have to be answered. Right? I say no, but some people, depending on the subject or the message being conveyed, I would suppose that would be actually a more accurate answer for you to give, right? If the message is not complex, then I would say we have the ability to be clear and concise. If the message is a little bit more complex, I would say being clear and concise would be difficult. Right? Not possible, but difficult. Not sure why I'm keeping these, but I should just throw them out at this point. I got so many of these. All right. So where did I leave off? Okay. Well, yeah, I left off at social media and public discourse. So let's define social media in our context, in our conversation, right? So use platforms like X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, YouTube. These are all, we can share information and engage in public debate, right away. There's Blue Sky, like through social, there's Rumble, I think you get the meaning. There is a ton of different, so Discord, there's Twitch, right? All of these platforms are social, are digital age, right? Kind of cranked it in neck. All right. So let's see. So let's look at some components, right? We have viral dynamics. Ideas can spread rapidly. Bad ideas and good ideas. Just ideas. Let's just say ideas, right? We'll keep it general. There are the risks of reinforcing existing beliefs. We call them echo chambers. Why do we call them echo chambers? Because we don't leave the group of friends, and this doesn't happen only in social media, that reinforce our view or our beliefs in the world, right? Makes sense so far. I don't think there's anything actually in the digital age that hasn't happened in the past in the first place. Then we have transparency through public feedback. So if you're in an echo chamber, it's a little less apparent, or if you don't want to read the opposing views that make it onto your post or your platform. However, you are very transparent, right? Now, whether you're telling the truth or not, we can have a different conversation at that point. It got underneath me. I went too close. That's what that meant. Okay. So leaders have to adapt their communication style for digital audiences. You just have to. Well, at work, what's a digital style at work? Well, email, right? And also Teams or Zoom chats. What else? What's the other one? I can't think of it right now. It's there's different messaging apps, right, for different companies. So you can have a plethora of different messaging apps that will. There's like I can't think of it. It'll come to me. So in research, because of course people will research the digital age, right? We have digital communication studies that emphasize the importance of authenticity and clear messaging to maintain a credibility, right? So if we look at this landscape, combining brevity with depth is the key to effective online communication. Well, honestly, there's a point of diminishing returns, in my opinion. So what is that? Well, if I want to be short and concise, I'm going to use very concise language, right? Which means I'm going to use words people might have to look up. Well, why? Because the English language is very precise language. There's a reason why English is used in law for a lot of different countries. But point being is, if there's so many different ways to say certain things, but knowing the exact definition provides just enough a different meaning to those words in order for you to try to be as brief and concise as possible. So I want to point that out before we go into techniques, strategies, and empirical insights. So active listening and feedback techniques, right? After I kill the spore, of course. There we go. I might actually get tailoring up to where I need to have it. Tailoring. I need it for weaponsmithing, by the way. This is exactly why I'm doing all this labor, if you will. What in the heck happened? That was a little glitch. For some reason it decided not to stop walking. Okay. And I'll be okay with that. It's not like I took damage and died. That was dunk. Alright, so let's see. Active listening. Well, the definition is it involves fully concentrating and understanding and responding thoughtfully to the speaker. So what are the techniques? You want to maintain eye contact. You want to paraphrase the speaker's points. And then you should ask clarifying questions. Don't make them just questions. If you don't understand something or you want to clarify a point to your understanding, you should ask those clarifying questions. Build trust, and that will minimize the misunderstandings, right? And this is active listening. What is the benefit? Well, it builds trust and minimizes misunderstanding. Well, how do we know any of this is good for us? Well, research and communication studies have shown that active listening improves relational satisfactions. And you can apply that anecdotally, right? All of us have been in a position where we feel that the other person's not listening to us and we get frustrated. We're trying to convey a message and the other person seemingly is blowing us off. Not necessarily, but seemingly. So, what's the definition of effective feedback? Let's take this apart a little bit. Constructive feedback is information given to help improve performance. So you need a balanced approach. You need to combine positive reinforcement with areas for improvement. You also have timeliness, right? Offer the feedback as soon after the event or whatever encounter, when that encounter occurred. Also, be specific. And avoid just being completely vague, right? Yeah, that thing you did, yeah, it really pissed me off. Oh, what did I do or what did I say? Yeah, the thing. Okay, the thing. It not very helpful. So nonverbal communication and emotional. So let's tie this. Obviously, nonverbal communication is the transmission of messages through the body, facial expressions, gestures, and tone of voice. What is the importance? Well, all our nonverbal cues often convey more than our words do. A smile can build rapport. Crossed arms may signal defensiveness. Notice I'm being very precise here. Can build rapport. So, I'm smiling at you. It can, depending on how you smile. Adjusting the lips. How tight is your smile? Are you smirking versus smiling? Are you showing teeth? Are you just, your lips are pursed? All of these have a component to the nonverbal cues, right? If you do it right, then you should be able to build rapport with a smile. crossing your arms, you just might be tired. But you may be inadvertently or unconsciously dismissive of the person talking. So that brings us to emotional intelligence, and which is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions and the emotions of others. So what's a component of emotional intelligence? Well, there's really four: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. There was a study done by Daniel Goleman. His work showed that high EI is linked to more effective leadership and communication. So leaders who develop EI can read the room better and adjust their message for maximum input. And I'll say his name again, Bin Gang. He is a communications expert, and he has a YouTube channel. He goes into in depth these types of components, and I would highly recommend visiting his channel and taking a look for yourself. He is very good at what he does, and he really brings it. He's a better communicator than I could ever be. Let me just say it that way. Why? He's studied, he's gone out, he's really been an effective communicator, right? He looked for effective communicating, he practiced it. He gives you tips and tricks on it. So EI is, we're using it tonight, but does EI exist, emotional intelligence? Let's just say it does for you. We'll go over it in depth. A lot of people throw around EI. Oh, they have low EI. Well, remember, emotional intelligence is like the IQ of somebody, right? IQ is not exactly the pinnacle of measurement for how smart somebody is, right? However, through standardized testing, IQ has been accepted for that. EI, I'm not as versed in EI, so I'd have to defer. But let's just say for now, what I am or what I have uncovered makes me question EI in and of itself, because it can be explained by other things, right? It doesn't have to be true. All right. See. So some really good reflective exercises I found is, I'll just ask them. I'll say it out loud. You can write it. Feel free to write them down, or give me a question in the chat. So think about a recent conversation. What elements of active listening did you notice, and what could be improved? Again, this critical thinking, this ability to reason and become aware of oneself in the moment. All of these structures that we've talked about throughout this 100 episodes really culminate in the ability for you to use communication and look for communication cues wisely. So first, if you want to think about that recent conversation, identify the conversation, right? That goes without saying. And this poor is like the moon of the century. I haven't seen anything. It must be really, really far away from me. lucky this is growing fast. Otherwise, this would take forever. That's nice. To get if I wanted to, kind of bears. Bears have a lot of food. Alright. So, alright, let's go back to that conversation. So what do you want to do? Here are the steps. You want to identify the conversation. You want to note the verbal and nonverbal cues. So if you're paying attention to the speaker, you should be able to provide all of this information in context to the conversation, and then reflect on the feedback received. Right? So, critical thinking, again, a skill that will get you through any time, good and bad. You want to think critically. No doubt. So, here's a group exercise. If you're in a team or a community, consider running a short workshop on effective communication. Brainstorm together on ways to enhance clarity and trust. The only reason I'm using the axe is because I really want the axe to go up the level. And in Mountain Valley, I have no doubt in my mind that it's too easy. If I were in a 3 skull area, I would not be using my axe until I get up to level 30 at least. And for axes, Artie would be best. Hopefully a tank with a shield would be even. What you're seeing now is just the level up ability for me to get my 2-handed sword, so I can actually level that up to 40. I could use a lesser model, but I refuse. I refuse to use the lesser model. I will have my 2-handed sword that has steel blades and everything. There we go. And might as well do this since I'm right here. There we go. Nice. Use magic to get back faster. Alright. So during that exercise suggestion, what you want to do is you want to create a list of communications do's and don'ts. Role play a little bit with common scenarios. If you don't have any scenarios to choose from, role play with some common scenarios, and then gather feedback from everybody there. Right? What worked? What didn't work? Why didn't you think it worked? Do we understand communication better? And try not to use cheesy scenarios. It will disinterest people greatly. The point of the exercise is to get everybody involved in communication, right? Or the ability to communicate better. So I'll put this in the chat once I get to the workbench here. Give me a moment. environment. And of course, 50. There we go. Okay. So let me do this. So the question in the chat is, what challenges have you faced in communication and what strategies have worked? So we might get some low participation, that's fine. What I really want is everyone to reflect and jot down their own thoughts, right, for later discussion, whether in your community forums, X, LinkedIn, etc., Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you do, right? That's the purpose, right? You don't have to be too active with me, although it would be much appreciated. But where we're really trying to, what I'm trying to do is convey to you the importance of communication. I hope that through this podcast, I've given you at least the fundamentals enough to go and check it out. Ask AI. Grok 2 is great. ChatGPT is great. Claude 2 I don't use as much, and I didn't pay for a subscription, so I'm kind of out on that one. Google I heard was now. So there's some really good AIs. If I missed some, trust me, they're always out there. But the point is, leverage the teachers and feedback mechanisms that you can, right? So let's talk. Let's recap what we've gone over tonight. So on this Valentine's Day, so the communication is the process of exchanging information through verbal and nonverbal and digital channels. Leadership in the community, you have to have effective communication that builds trust, resolves conflict, and fosters collaboration. When we're looking at the digital age stuff, we need to adapt the new media requirements to be clear, authentic, and engaging. Now, hopefully, more active engagement than anything. So, what can you do? Well, active listening, effective feedback, and emotional intelligence are essential skills. On digital content like emails and posts and such things like that, what I would do is write it down. Well, the first thing is, does it make you emotional? And if it makes you emotional, walk away from it. You shouldn't be communicating on emotion. You can communicate your emotion, but that shouldn't drive the words that you use. I would recommend walking away at that point. And then what I would do is, if you were still in a position where you're not exactly what's a good way to say it, in a good mindset, write it down, write your thoughts down, and then put it through these AI and say, hey, how can I make this more professional or kinder or more friendly? And paste it in there, and the AI is pretty good about making it or drafting a really good taking your words and making them a little bit better, right? A little bit kinder, a little bit softer. Some of us don't, maybe you just don't have the vocabulary. Sometimes I use it for that very purpose, right? I'll write it down. I'm like, I see this email. I'm writing all this stuff down. And then I look at what I wrote down. I'm like, it could be worded better. So I put it into AI and ask the AI to be, more professional than I was, or more friendly. And AI is great for one other thing, and that's, you can tell the AI if you're cross-cultural, and you will be able to or the AI will be able to tune that cross-cultural email or what have you. Oh my god, so much crap. Ugh. Oh, there's these. Let's take these, exchange them for these. I'm trying to think of what I can drop. I really don't need these. We'll do something with this. Let's see if I have any room over here. Probably not, honestly. Yeah, I didn't think so. That's alright. I might have some room over here. So yeah, leverage AI as much as you can. And you'll find that it's a much better way of communicating sometimes, especially if you can voice your opinion with the effectiveness with the communication. Always practice, but the AI might come back and say, you're good to go. All right, let's go with the techniques, right? We went over active listening, effective feedback, and emotional intelligence, which are essential skills to communication. So mastering communication means integrating all of these elements. You want a well-tuned instrument. What's that instrument? Vaughn, why do I forget his first name? Vin Gang will tell you your instrument is your voice. Your instrument can be tuned. And then that will resonate your message clearly. And you'll build stronger connections. He usually, there's one thing that he says that I always like to point out is you could be a 10 in your technical knowledge. If you're a 2 in your communication skills, no one will ever know that you're a 10 in your technical knowledge. They just won't. I was like, you know what? That's a very good point. I never thought of it that way, but when he said it that way, I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me. I looked back at when I was younger, especially. I didn't get the, I didn't have access to the information that we do today, especially with AI. And that's why I'm bringing it to you. The information is so valuable, especially in your daily life as well. Don't forget, this information can help you with relationships, can help you with people you love. It can help you with people you don't like or hate. There is a lot of use. Well, not a lot. It's everything. It's our daily lives anymore, right? All right, so some key findings that I want you to go explore, right? Kahneman's dual process theory on cognitive modes. I think you'll get a lot of good information out of that. You have transformational leadership research linking communications to trust. And you have neuro leadership insights on balancing the thinking and feeling brain. I would highly recommend understanding the difference between an emotional response and a rational response. Emotion is good. It drives you. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to be emotionless. What I want you to investigate is sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, your emotion is going to be returned back at you. It's like a mirror almost. You'll get. I think when you go through some of these studies, you'll understand a little bit better of what I mean, because I'm failing to communicate it, honestly. But I also want to leave that open ended so you can go and find information on your own that will help you in the long run. And don't take my word for it, right? I want you to go and validate or verify at least the concepts that I'm going over. I'm not the arbiter, and this is a learning journey for me as well. Matter of fact, seeing some of these communication things that I'm bringing up, the subject itself, I might be able to generate a more detailed, specific. Yay! Went up an axe. Awesome. Let's check out that axe. Axe, great axe. There it is. Level 18. Yay! I have 20 seconds before my blessing goes away. Sitting there looking at my weapon level. Talk about inefficiencies. Lost the blessing. Couldn't get here fast enough. That's alright. I use magic, but it's okay. 3-minute cooldown for that thing. Easy. Alright. So, what I'd like you to do as another exercise is reflect on your own communication style. What strengths can you build on, and what areas might need improvement? There's one contentious thing I'm going to say because of this statement that I'm making. A lot of people will say, don't worry about your strengths, work on your weaknesses. Yeah, no. Work on your weaknesses, but don't focus on them. Focus on your strengths, get them better. Make them so ironclad that no one can take them away from you. I would say that before I would say work on your strengths. Focus on everything, but focus on your strengths. You'll polish them before you'll polish a weakness, right? All right, let's see. So we're at about an hour. It is Valentine's Day, so I might close up shop early tonight, and I'll make a little bit longer podcast tomorrow. Why did I do that? Oh, because I wanted to see something. That's why I wanted to do that. Where am I going? Oh my goodness. Still on cooldown? Oh, I got a couple seconds here. Not like I need the speed burst, but I like using the magic because I don't use it that often. And I only get like 7 seconds worth of burst out of that. Crazy, right? That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. So take what you've learned today and experiment with one new communication style or technique, I should say. Be it active listening or giving clearer feedback. Always in the middle of combat. I can't talk. I don't know why. All right. So just simply engaging more authentically online. Share your experiences on our community forum or social media. So I do put my social media, LinkedIn and Twitter, X, excuse me. If you're more casual conversation, use my X account. If you're more a professional, like career based, use LinkedIn. X would be for gaming as well. Yeah, I'd love for you to share your experiences, and then we can have that back and forth, that a transactional or interpersonal communication. So as we celebrate our 100th episode, stay tuned for more content exploring on how these timeless ideas shape our world, how ancient philosophy and thinkers shape today's, or even are right today, where leaders can use the knowledge of Aristotle, Sun Tzu, of Lao Tzu, a lot of different philosophers through the years. And there's a couple Indian philosophers, I can't pronounce their names, but they're amazing. When you read their context, and of course, on certain areas, I have to have a translated version. But they're brilliant. They're brilliant people that wisdom holds true, the same as if they muttered the words today, right? So thank you for joining me on this journey. And if you found today's episode valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. Stay curious. Stay connected. And here's to many more conversations ahead. Thanks for joining.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive ready to fight.